as we've gone through the project, the product has got a lot better than we ever thought it would be. We're going to be profitable this year. We've got low cost, high margin. We're selling at $50, roughly $50 a tonne.
Yeah.
$18 production at the minute. We're coming down to $7.50. Going forward, we'll be throwing off quite a lot of cash. We've got a product which not only works, is better than what other people are using. Everybody who's bought has come back and bought more.
Okay.
In increasing orders.
Hello and welcome to Crux Investor. We're here today with Mark Heyhoe. He is the COO of Harvest Minerals. They're a natural, organic fertiliser company.
We are indeed, yes.
Fantastic. So you're going to tell us all about it now.
Yeah, I mean, Harvest is a completely natural, organic fertiliser and mineraliser producer, which just happens to be located in the largest and fastest growing fertiliser market in Brazil.
Right.
Our product KPfertil is a completely multi-nutrient fertiliser and remineraliser. It's very low cost to produce. Cost at the moment is about $18 per tonne to produce. As our production grows, it'll get down to about $7.50 per tonne.
Right.
And we can just sell it locally. We've got, as I said before, one of the largest markets directly on our doorstep.
Cool. You're going to tell us today how investors are going to make money investing in your company. So we're going to run through a few of the variables at the moment. So let's start with the product itself. Okay, what are the uses? And when you say organic, natural, how's that different from everyone else?
Okay. Well, our product is completely different than any traditional fertiliser you're going to use, or in that it's multi-nutrients and natural products. So it's a rock, it's a lava called a hermaphrodite, which is at surface. So we just excavate it.
Okay.
It's heavily weathered, which means those minerals are actually accessible to the plants. And all we have to do is crush it to a powder, and you can apply it directly to your plants. So there's no complex processing, no chemical alteration required. It makes it very low cost to produce.
Okay, so you're able to pick this up at surface, process it cheaply, so therefore presumably low cost component to this. Is it cheaper than other people are offering?
Yeah, I mean substantially. In terms of our cost, yes. In terms of our cost of production, it's way lower. So we're producing at the moment. We did about 50,000 tonnes last year. Our cost is around $17, $18 per tonne. Right. As we get up to 100,000 tonnes, because of the economies of scale, we'll get down to about $7.50.
Right.
We sell the product at a substantial discount to what everybody else is paying in the market at 50 real, which is about $50 per tonne, which means we've still got significant margin even selling at that price.
Well, let's come back to the numbers, because I think a few questions on that. So does it work?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you know?
We've done extensive trials. When we after the first year, 2016, we did extensive agronomic work in 2017, really about getting the product registered. So it was all short cycle crop tests showing that the actual product works both as a fertiliser and a remineraliser. The actual accreditation is for a remineraliser, but it involves actually showing that it does benefit the crops and helps them grow, and we tested that against your traditional fertilisers.
Right.
Since then, we've done extensive longer-term trials on our primary market, which is coffee, sugarcane, soybean, and maize. The trials results we put out in September showed that actually we had increased grief using our product compared to your traditional potash and your traditional phosphate fertilisers. Right.
Okay. You're telling me it works. You can produce it cheaply. Great. What's the problem? Because if I look at your share price, it's been pretty flat, if not slightly downward trending since April last year. Well, let's deal with that actually while we're talking about it. So why did it have that drop in April?
Well, basically back in 2018, June 2018, we hadn't got a lot of cash. We just put in all the initial work. We got all the work and trial work to show the product was working, but we needed to sell it into the market. And we were offered a distribution deal with a local group called Agri-Serrada. We had 100 sales offices, 10 sales offices, 100 sales staff. And that seemed like an ideal deal for us because there's a little cash up front. They were selling into the market, into their local consumers, and that seemed like a great deal for us. However, when we did the fundraising in June on the back of that was essentially to put the processing plant in. So we took the processing plant capacity up to 320,000 tonnes per annum. But unfortunately, they didn't really sell the product because it was a new product. People, their clients, the farmers, are not used to that product. So when you go to see them, it's a bit like going to B&Q. You go to the shop and say, "Well, I need some fertiliser. What am I going to do? Try this, which is new, or are you going to try the stuff you've always used? You know it works. You're not going to bet your whole business and your whole livelihood on something, on taking a chance on something new." That didn't work because you need to sell to people. You need to persuade them, show them results, and spend a bit of time with them. So we set up our own sales team beginning of last year.
So you stopped that relationship. That relationship got...
Yeah, it's still ongoing. It's sort of piling off now.
Right.
But we're not that's not our sales channel. Our sales channels now are direct.
Okay.
So we've got our own sales team in place. They came on board end of 2017, end of 2018, early part of 2019, and they've had a good year last year of building up their relationships they've already got and starting selling into their markets.
So just answer the question. So April, it dropped off. Why? People
Yep.
recognised your results came out. They didn't see what you told them they were expecting to see.
Well, I think the expectation was that we'd put in a processing plant for 320,000 tonnes. So as soon as you produce it, you can sell it.
Right.
But that's not the way it works, because it's a new product. You produce it especially to order at the moment. You know,
Right.
we're always going to have increased capacity and production capacity above what we're selling, so that when sales do come in, we've got the capacity to produce.
So let's talk about sales. Let's talk about sales, because that seems very important to you. You're saying
Absolutely.
the product works. Empirical data, we'll maybe come back to that, but sales seems to be your problem. So you built a plant with a very large capacity, but you're selling to order. What is the sales process, and what are these long-term contracts? You know, what is the are they buying for the year? Are they buying for the month? I mean, how do you manage that?
Yeah. Let me take a little step back, just talk about the market, exactly
Yeah.
where we are. So as I said before, we're located in one of the largest and fastest growing fertiliser markets in Brazil. If you look directly where we are, between ourselves and the airport, which is 300 kilometres, you know, there's over 4.5 million hectares of coffee, soybean, sugarcane and maize.
All of which could use
Yep.
your product.
That's 83% of all the fertiliser in Brazil is used on those four crops, okay?
Okay.
Just within that area, just for coffee, there's over 3.5 million tonnes of potential demand for our products. Sugarcane, we'll start getting results through for that, is 3 times that size of the market. So there's a huge market. These guys are large industrial, they supply likes, you know, customers with coffee, supply likes of Ville and Nescafe. So these are major producers. But they're not going to come along and try to change their entire production to a new product without actually testing it's going to work for them first. Because everybody's soil is slightly different, everybody's varieties are different. They want to know it's going to work. So they'll come and buy a little bit, see if it works, and then next year come back and buy a bit more, and then as it
Is that the phase you're in now? People are testing your product, and how long's the season out there?
It's a year for coffee. It'll be a full year.
Right, and that's the primary use for you. There's a few other uses.
In terms of our sales, the bulk of our sales are into coffee.
Yeah,
that's primarily because that's the market we attracted first. We're working longer with the coffee market.
They pay more.
We sell the price regardless, because a lot of these guys might have different crops. So we sell to the RI, no matter who you are, what you're doing. Okay, so the market's there. They'll come by and buy a little bit, and what we've seen is initial small customer base. Everybody has come back and bought more, and that company is doing 50,000 tonnes last year. And the guys who we've been working with longer have come back and bought in increasing amounts. Now we put a video out back in November from one of our customers talking about what he's been doing and how he's been doing, and this is what really differentiates us from the competition, as it were, in terms of fertilisers. He's selling coffee, and I'll talk a bit more about what he's actually doing with our product. But he's come back and said, okay, there's a whole range of benefits from using this. Over the next couple of years, I'm going to go to 100% using KPfertil. Okay, and that's a good big endorsement. This is a major coffee producer. Okay. So that's the way it will fold out, and as these guys come back and buy more, we'll also get more and more sales into new customers as well.
So how many customers have you got today?
So we have got, off the top of my head, in total about 70-75 customers.
Right, and
they range in terms of size.
What's your largest customer worth to you as a percentage?
We haven't. We said in the last Q&A before, that's about 9%.
Sorry,
about 9% of our total sales was this
one. Your largest customer is 9% of your business.
Yeah.
Okay, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, because it's small.
Yeah.
The volumes are quite small.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me a bit more about this process of selling. It's going to take people this year. I just want to know where you are today, because your share price has been hammered. Okay, you're going to tell me you're not getting fair reflection of what you've done, obviously, right? So I hope you would, but to get people to understand what it is that you're trying to do, what's going on up here, what's the plan? I need to understand how quickly do you get back in control, because whilst people are testing your product, you're not in control. You've got to wait. You've got to wait for what the answer that comes back, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we have agronomics. We have a sales team which we're all agronomists. Okay, we have an agronomist who supports them as well. So we're in contact with the guys who are doing all the tests. So whether they're buying 10 tons or 100 tons, we help them apply it, we're monitoring it, and so we are in control about what we're doing. Because it's important, particularly for these early customers, that nobody, applies it, does anything stupid with it, basically, and says, oh, it doesn't work. We know from our test work that it all works. All our longer term work, the customers we've been working with for the last couple of years, we can sort of demonstrate it works, is getting better results than what they've been using traditionally. So we know it works. It's a question of getting these guys to bulk up their orders, but get into new markets. Okay, so we get more customers, more coffee producers. They see what we're doing, talking to us, but also seeing what their competition is doing.
Okay.
If everybody else is switching this, they need to be doing it as well.
Right.
And then we're also using it into new markets. Like I said before, we're going to get sugarcane results coming out this year, so that support is selling into the sugarcane market, which is 3 times the size of the coffee market.
Okay.
We talk about 320,000 tons of capacity. The market where we are, just in that small area, is, if you look at the average application with 4 tons per hectare, there's over 18 million tons of potential market within 300 kilometres of the project.
Yeah, but
so together our capacity is only 2%.
Those are all ifs and buts at the moment. Okay, so you've spent a lot of money building a large capacity plant when the gestation period is relatively long in terms of decision making by the farmers, because they've got to test it. Maybe one season they'll come back and buy a little bit more, and then this next season a bit more, and hopefully. All the while you've got competitors looking at you going, I don't really like what they're doing, they're stealing our business potentially, they're much lower priced, so what are they going to do? What are they doing as a result of the activities that you're doing?
I mean, just take a step back. I mean, we haven't spent a lot of money. Our business is very low capital intensive for what it is for a fertiliser producer.
But come on, if you were how much are you selling right now?
50,000 tons.
Right, and the capacity is
320,000 tons.
Could you build a smaller plant?
But the market's there. I mean, what's the point?
The market's not there today. It might be there in 2 years' time, surely.
Yeah, but then what we're going to do? We're going to stop production and build a bigger plant.
Well, we've seen different models in different sectors, which would suggest like, right, okay, if we build a slightly smaller plant for the first 2 years, get some cash flowing, and then we'll bolt on. We'll use a modular type approach rather than build it day one and hope that we make those sales quicker. Was that part of the management consideration?
No, because
why go big early?
Because the actual cost of production is very small. All you need to do is crush it to a powder. So buying a crusher is relatively cheap. So it's really the infrastructure to go around it. So to build that 320,000 ton of processing capacity costs less than $1 million.
Yep.
Okay. We can sell 50,000 tons last year at $50, $2.5 million. So you've already you can justify that level of expenditure, knowing that the market is there, knowing how good the product is. That we know we will get to that point. It's really a question of how.
Right.
Quickly we can do it.
Okay. Let's come back to sales guys.
Yep.
Because that's something I wanted to ask you. So you recruited a sort of third party. They didn't deliver for you. They weren't selling. Maybe because partly because there's news story, or partly because they had other stuff which they maybe were incentivized to sell in front of you. Who knows? Okay, it didn't work out. It doesn't matter. You've got your own sales team in place now. And so how many people have you got?
We've got 8 plus the head of sales plus the economist.
No, right, okay, so and you feel that that's the right size of team for what you're trying to do now, and they're getting around and telling the story out there in the marketplace, and what's the feedback from them in terms of?
Yeah, so the way it works is each sales guy has got his own sales area. Everybody has got experience of selling fertilisers in that particular area, so they've got their own Rolodex of clients who we've been selling to.
Yeah.
So that's how it works. We've got full coverage of that 300 kilometres area at the moment, and when sales is the biggest part of our cost at the moment, and as our sales will go, we'll continue to expand upon that and maybe bulk out the sales team as well at some point. But at the moment, as we're getting such high repeat orders, you don't have to spend as much time with existing customers, so you can go and talk to other customers as well.
Right, okay. Why haven't you put out sales numbers? Why aren't you giving people guidance as to the sorts of numbers that you are achieving or hoping to achieve this year? Because if I look at the presentation, it seems devoid of numbers. I think commentary in the market suggests that they're hearing the same old stuff, but you're not telling them if you're succeeding or what you hope to do.
Yeah. What we've said is that last year we did 50,000 tons, which should roughly break even. This year it will be profitable as a business.
Great.
Yeah, because our sales are going to continue to grow. Now we haven't given actual numbers to that sales for a couple of reasons. The primary one is that sales are quite lumpy.
Yeah.
So we have a guy who came last year and bought 10 tons. You know, next year he'll come back maybe by 100 tons or 1,000 tons.
Or none.
Or, well, nobody's done that yet. Or,
Okay,
you know,
good.
or 10,000.
So people have used it, keep coming back.
Everybody who's bought has come back and bought more.
Okay.
In increasing orders. And so it's really very difficult. Whatever number I put out there in the market is going to be wrong. Because it's
True,
very...
but there must be some way of helping shape the story in the marketplace, because I think people are frustrated. Well, the share price would suggest that they're frustrated, that you are not helping understand where you are in the cycle. So if you're at a sort of dip in the cycle, because right now, and you may disagree with the wording here, but you know, you are slightly out of control in the sense you're waiting for feedback from the marketplace to tell you this is working and how quickly people will start buying. Will they come back and buy 10,000 next year, or will it be 100,000 or more, right? Because these are some big growers, right? These are big growers, and if they can see that it works in whatever soil types, they maybe go all in, whatever. And you know, I appreciate your competitors may, you know, hope to change their mind, but you must have some kind of sense of how the company is going to move forward with its growth plans. And I appreciate it may be lumpy, you can't necessarily predict accurately, but help people understand what's going on with the decision making, or with what you hope will happen, surely.
Yeah, I mean, this is come out, why don't you build a smaller plant? Is we put in a 320,000 ton capacity plant because we felt in the next few years we'll get to that.
Right.
And well before we get to that point, we'll put in an expansion to that plant. That gives you an idea of what the scale is. We talked about, you know, we have got enough material, enough resource there to last us. You know, we've got a resource currently of 13 million tons, but it's a lava, it's that surface, we've mapped it in geophysics. So we know, you know, 400,000 tons per year, we've got over 100 years of material. So we've got enough material. All you need to do is crush it.
So 100 years at what rate?
At 400,000 tons per year.
Okay.
So we've got a lot of material there.
Yeah.
Okay, the processing is very simple. We just crush it. It costs each individual crusher part's about $50,000 to put in. So we can expand the production side. The question is how quickly that market's going to. We know there's a big market there, and with things we've been doing, which indicates that we're going to do a lot better this year in terms of from what we did last year. But from where we were June 18 when we put the over that summer of 2018 when we put the processing plant is to go from that to where we are in 18 months to 50,000 tons for a new, completely not to say new fertilizer, a new type of product is excellent. And we know that we can grow in that from what the feedback we've had. We haven't talked about what the total volumes are, but we know it is going to get a lot better. And there's a lot of things we've been doing which are particularly exciting to us and give us an indication of what the potential could be from our product.
Okay. You need to tell people more regularly these things, don't you?
Well, no, we put out videos, we do Q&As. We did a Q&A 2 weeks ago. Any questions anybody's got, we send in to us, we answer them. The unfiltered
there you go,
questions.
you heard it here, send them in.
Yeah, well, we did one back in December as well. We did one in 2 weeks ago, and it says, look, you got any questions, send them in. Yeah. Because unfortunately, we can't respond to individual investors with their questions without telling everybody what the answer is. So we put them all out together so everybody's got the answers at the same time.
Okay, talking to shareholders. Mighton, what's going on?
Mighton, very grateful. Mighton came on board. They like the story. Very supportive of what we've been doing.
Are they?
They understand it. There's a whole.
Aren't they selling?
They have been selling, along with every other stock they hold, and that's a function of post-Woodford and the liquidity issues. We had a lot of redemptions, so we've said, look, we've had to sell out of some stock. Any liquidity we get, we've had to sell out to across the board, and it doesn't reflect on any particular company. So when we sold out last time, we put out a TR1 saying we've sold out a small proportion. Yeah. And then if you looked at the news line, nearly every other company they held had sold out as well.
Okay,
so it isn't just a question.
Back to you though.
Yep.
What's that done for you? Do you think that clearly will have had a negative effect on share price? You could argue, or if the story was strong, then maybe it adds the liquidity, new buyers, new shareholders.
Yeah, I mean, what's
happening?
I mean, it creates a little bit of uncertainty about what they're doing.
Yeah.
In the market.
Do you know?
No, I mean, we can't second guess what, if they were going to sell, they wouldn't tell us. If they're going to buy more of it, you probably wouldn't tell us as well.
Have you asked?
We talked to them regularly. I went to see them, we talked to them just before December, and we speak to them last week.
And they're holders?
And they're still holding, yes.
They say, okay, I've heard that before. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, I can't, I do my job, they do their job, and hopefully everybody gets to a good conclusion.
Right. Okay. So we talked about low cost, high margin product, which is new to a market. It's a new type of fertilizer, right?
Yeah.
So you've got a little bit of a barrier to entry there. And you like every other company like you, puts out the size and scale of the opportunity in the market. But I guess one of your advantages is that you're selling on home turf. That's got to be part of the low cost component, which is great. What is your local? I'm talking about local people representation, because if I look at the sales decision to go over the local sales team, you would think that makes a lot of sense. Turned out not to be the case. You have to go with your own internal team here. So what is your connection internally? Are there any issues around licensing, permits? Is there any political risk? What's happening in country?
In country, in terms of our product, we had it classified as a remineralizer, soil remineralizer.
Okay.
Now, the difference between a fertilizer and a remineralized soil remineralizer is fertilizers directly affect the plant.
Yeah.
Soil mineralizers benefit the soil.
Interesting. Okay.
Our product contains potassium and phosphate, so it helps the plants grow.
Yeah.
And all the test work we've done is really focused on that.
Okay.
But more and more, it'll become more and more important that we are a soil remineralizer. And we'll talk about what some of our customers are doing in terms of composting and things like that, and why that's significant going forward. But in terms of the product, that's all fine, that's signed off. In terms of operationally, we're operating currently under a trial mining permit. We've got a couple of years left on that. It allows us to take out 50,000 tonnes in blocks. Take 50,000, we can apply for a new one, but we'll get our new full mining permit imminently this quarter.
So no surprises coming down the road. There's nothing you're waiting for that may not arrive.
No, all we went for is a full mining permit.
Okay.
Part of that process is you submitted a detailed work report.
Yep.
Detailing all the work you've done. We submitted that 18 months ago. That was signed off and approved. Then you have to do a feasibility study, which demonstrates really that the project's economic and you've got the money to build it. That was all proved.
Yeah.
We've built the operations. We got our environmental permit earlier this year, takes us to 400,000 tonnes production. So all we're waiting now is the final signature for that.
Okay.
And once we get that, we do actually owe the original vendor $1 million of the asset.
But you're sitting on what, 5 million cash today? Pounds cash today?
Yeah, around about 5 million, yes.
Market cap 7.5. That's got to be frustrating.
It is. It gives people an opportunity for people.
Okay. Good.
Absolutely. But in terms of our existing shareholders, it's frustrating. Myself included, and the rest of the board are all frustrated by the share price. I mean, we tell people about the story, but I think fundamentally we just stick to the knitting. Get in this current market, get out, do what we need to do in terms of a business. Become profitable this year. Have cash.
Is it a year end?
We changed the year end to December.
Okay.
It was June.
Okay.
That reflects the buying cycle in Brazil.
Yeah.
So the start of the buying cycle is May, and it goes through sort of end of November, December.
Okay.
So when we had a June year end, we were just in the start of the buying period, so the results we put out weren't reflective of what we're going to do that year. So we've changed it this year. So this year, till 2020 will be the first full December year end.
Okay, that's good. That's okay. We'll see what that delivers. But you're going to be profitable. That's the main thing. The things you want people to hear is profitable.
We got cash. We don't need to raise any more cash.
Right.
We're not going to dilute anybody.
Anytime soon. You're not going to raise money anytime soon.
For any current activities or anything we're doing at the moment.
You're producing cash.
We're going to be profitable this year.
Right.
Okay. We've got low cost, high margin. Okay. We're selling at $50, roughly $50 tonne.
Yeah.
$18 production in a minute. We'll come down to $7.50. Going forward, we'll be throwing off quite a lot of cash. We've got a product which not only works, is better than what other people are using, and as we've gone through the project, the product has got a lot better than we ever thought it would be. Because when we first started, we had a rock, a lava, which had elevated potash and phosphate readings. We thought, perhaps you could use it as a fertilizer. We'll crush it, we'll sell it cheaper than what everybody else is doing at $50, and that works. But it's also got a lot of calcium, it's got a lot of magnesium in, which neutralizes acidity in the soil. It's got a lot of silica, which helps disease resistance. But if you look at what's happened in Brazil, since the 50s, when they really set about turning Brazil into an agricultural powerhouse, they have a lot of sun, they have a lot of water in terms of rain. In this central agricultural belt, Cerrado, we've got a lot of land there, but it was very, very poor quality soil. So what they worked out was if you apply 50 tonnes of lime, reduce the acidity of the soil, then apply a lot of fertiliser, you can actually make it productive. And so now we've gone from the 50s to the point now where it's the bulk of the GDP. We're the biggest exporter of coffee, sugarcane, soya bean, with either one or two and most crops in which we export. The issue for them is that this had a huge negative impact in terms of the soil. So when you apply a lot of fertiliser, any intensive farming, a lot of fertiliser, particularly fertiliser which is heavy in salt, it's heavy in chlorine, and that kills all the soil bacteria and the fungi and all the microbes which are in there, which are essential for breaking down the nutrients and making them available to the plants. So what you've done over time is, to get the same yields, you have to apply more and more fertiliser. So becoming a negative loop of actually having to apply more and more fertiliser. And the other negative of that is these microbes and things in the soil, actually, the plants take carbon from the atmosphere, and these microbes break it down and sequester it into the soil. So in terms of carbon capture, they're essential for that. Now, as you're applying a lot more fertiliser, our customer, for example, potash, they lose 70% of the potash they apply instantly because it's highly soluble, gets washed straight out. So we have to apply it in multiple batches. You're losing 70% of the potash you're applying, the phosphate, all this nitrogen you're applying, the crops can't take it all up, so it either goes into the ocean, into the water supply, but also it's getting turned into nitrous oxide and get released into the atmosphere as a greenhouse gas. What we've been doing, our product is as a straight fertiliser. It works very well. It's slow release, so it's very good for these long-term coffee, sugarcane crops. But what our clients have been doing is working with compost. So we're taking the old coffee husks they've got, mixing it with our product, mixing it with manure, and let it mature. And this helps the growth of beneficial bacteria and fungi and things like that. And then they're applying it to their coffee. And in the video we put out in February with Veloso, who supplies Nescafe and Ilya coffee, what they're talking about is doing this, we're saving money, we're getting better yield, we better get a taste of coffee, get a better quality of product. We're getting better moisture retention, so we have to apply a lot less irrigation. Okay, so there's a huge range of other beneficial things. We're getting less disease because these the microbes and bacteria which our products have in growth. I find a whole range of benefits which not just benefit them, but also benefit the wider population.
Okay, I think people should look at that, and that's important.
I think it's going to be it's going to be going forward a real drive in terms of
will be in terms of product differentiation, and I'm sure your sales team are hammering that home. I want to get out of you before we go. What are you going to be doing this year, which is going to change that share price trajectory? Because right now nothing's happening. You're waiting, okay? So what else can you do now to ensure, what do you say to investors, either investors who have got to put their money in with you or new investors potentially coming into you and going, where are you in this cycle and why should they be looking at your business because it's about to take off? Or how are you going to phrase it? Because right now I'm hearing you're waiting. And I want to know, how long are you going to be waiting for? Yeah. When is it what month are you going to be able to sort of see results of your sales team's hard work?
Yeah, I would strongly disagree that we've been waiting. Like I said before, we started, the plant came in middle of summer 2018. We've gone from essentially 0 to 50,000 tonnes in the last 18 months, well 50,000 tonnes last year, and we'll continue that growth. We're not waiting for the sales. The sales are out there now. The sales cycle will start in sort of
Tell me about
May, June, because that's when people start buying, ordering.
Okay.
We're talking now about what they want to be doing. They'll start ordering from May through to December.
Okay.
Okay. But in terms of what we're doing, this year we'll get a mining permit imminently. We're doing a lot of stuff operationally in terms of expanding our storage capacity, because we need to do that in the anticipated growth in sales. We've got a production capacity. We need more product storage capacity. I need more ROM storage capacity, which is the material we mine. We're going to expand all that as well to give us the infrastructure in place so we can meet the orders. The sales team are talking now to the people they talked to last year, getting a feel for what they're going to be doing next year. Everybody who bought last year said they want to buy more next year, so that's positive. We'll get more test results back which support that, including the sugarcane. which means that we can start now supporting our sales efforts into the sugarcane industry. Now, why that's important is coffee at the moment is the bulk of our sales. Just in where we are, the sugarcane market is 3.5 times the size of the coffee market. And these are big producers in terms of volumes of product they could take. So it's going to be key for us to get into those markets as well. So that's the focus for this year. Existing customers will buy more. New coffee producers who've tried a little bit will buy more next year, but we've also seen what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
We've put out a number of videos where people have talked about the product and what they're doing and why it works, and then getting into those new markets.
Brilliant. So you're not waiting, you're doing stuff, but you are waiting to hear back from the buyers as to the sorts of quantities that they're going to be buying. So people who've tested it, you've got to wait for those numbers. Are you going to be able to give guidance, from Q3 as to what those numbers are starting to look like? Because I think that seems to be what the market is waiting for. They're trying to understand from you what's the scale of the opportunity here, and how quickly is it going to ramp up, and are you as a company going to be more communicative?
I mean, we've said we are more communities. Q&As are an excellent opportunity to do that, so people ask any questions and we respond, and you can see your question there, and it's our answer to it. So we're doing things like talking to you guys now about what we're doing there.
But you're talking to me, but you're not giving me numbers because you can't today.
Because
so when can you?
Once we've got an idea of the scale, because we've only been doing this 18 months, so it's really an idea of how people accelerate their growth in sales. Once we've got an idea of that,
it
gives an idea.
When is
so
that
in a couple of years' time, we'll be substantially from where we are and have a better understanding of how quickly people adopt the product.
When will that be?
Oh, that's 2 years, I said.
No, from today, 2 years from today.
We will have a far better. I mean, this season we got 50,000 tonnes. We expect people to come back and do more. So all we're saying is, okay, we're cutting costs. We expect the sales to go up. We'll be profitable. Okay,
it's a good start.
It's better than the bulk of the companies on the market. Okay,
definitely.
And like I said, we've got some cash as well.
And
then it's about growing it from there. And as soon as we are comfortable and confident that we can accurately predict what the sales growth is going to be, then we'll give numbers, because people have put out numbers before. We didn't do them, and you get hammered for it.
Yeah, true.
Either under or overestimate, you're going to get, people are going to come and...
So when do you think that time will come where you feel comfortable giving some indication?
When we know that we can actually accurately forecast it.
Okay, so you don't want to give estimates, but the good news is you're profitable, you're sitting on cash, the sales cycle has begun. Increased sales, you hearing, I guess, anecdotally from your sales team in terms of you've got to convert into actual hard orders, I guess. You've got a product which seems to be working in the market in quite a large opportunity area, being agriculture in Brazil. So a lot to like, but you're being cautious about putting numbers on the marketplace.
The issue from the get-go has always been how quickly the sales are going to grow. We've kept the business as simple as possible. You set surface, you excavate it, crush it, powder, you apply it to your crops. The market is right on our doorstep, literally.
I get it.
So it's simple as possible. It's just the question has always been how quickly those sales are going to grow.
And which I've been trying desperately to get out of you, and you're not going to give it to me. I don't blame you.
If I knew, I would tell you how quickly we're going to grow. But I know we are going to grow. The rate of that acceleration is the question.
But you understand people want to know, and they want to know. And since
I would love to be able to say we're going to do X next year, and then the year after we're going to do Y. But it's not a simple case of us producing it. You've also got to sell it, and it is not it's not you selling tins of baked beans. People buy it. It's a product which, first you've got to, you have to wait a growing cycle to see if people like it and come back and buy more. But all the feedback we've had has been positive. All the tests we've done have been positive, and all the stuff we're doing at the moment suggests that the outlook is extremely bright for what we're doing, not just as a fertiliser, but as a mineraliser.
So, with the market cap as low as it is, but you are potentially going to be throwing off a lot of cash because the margins are high. So dividends are on the horizon. They're part of the conversation at board meetings. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something we've talked about from the get-go. I mean, it's partly why Myton came in originally, is that we can see the story. To expand the production is very low cost. It costs less than $1 million to double the production capacity. So it's very simple, very low cost. The margins are high. With the volumes, we're throwing off a lot of cash, and that's always been the intention. I'm a shareholder. The rest of the board of shareholders. It is going to be a cash generative business.
Beautiful, Mark. thanks for today.
Yep.
Great first introduction to the business. We do want to stay in touch. I do think you have something there. I get, like I say, people want to have a sense of the numbers at some point soon, so they can get an idea of the scale of the opportunity here, and move this from a $7.5 million market cap company into something meaningful. So do stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's our intention.